Have you ever felt like starting a new fitness routine is just too much? Or maybe learning a martial art seems daunting? But what if you could tap into an ancient practice with both physical and mental benefits and understand it in just a few minutes?
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we break down complex topics and give you the key takeaways you need.
And today we're exploring the world of Tai Chi. You provided some amazing material, especially this book, Pocket Tai Chi for Beginners. It's written by Tri Thong Dang.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about giving you a clear understanding of this holistic art.
Exactly.
So by the end, you'll not only know the history and benefits of Tai Chi, but you'll also have a grasp of the simplified 24-form routine.
That's a great way to put it. It's perfect for beginners.
It is. Think of it as a fast track to the core principles of Tai Chi without getting lost in complicated routines.
Absolutely.
Now, the book we're focusing on, Deng's Guide, is a great place to start.
It really is.
It covers the history of Tai Chi, the amazing benefits it offers, breaks down the fundamental movements, and even gives a detailed guide to each of the 24 forms in this simplified routine.
And I think what really stands out is the author's acknowledgement of Dr. Jonathan Pierce
Yes.
and his own martial arts background with Grandmaster Chuchukai.
Right. It shows the depth of knowledge and experience behind this guide.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we go any further, a quick reminder from the book.
Yes, very important.
Any physical activity comes with some risk, so if you have any concerns, talk to your doctor first.
Always good advice.
All right, let's get into it. Tai Chi seems to be getting more and more popular these days.
It is, yeah.
What do you think is driving this surge in interest?
Well, you're absolutely right. Its popularity is exploding worldwide.
It is.
And it's not just attracting martial arts fans. We're seeing people from all walks of life getting into it. People in sports and recreation, healthcare professionals,
Wow.
even people in the business world are taking notice.
That's quite a diverse group.
It is.
So what is it about Tai Chi that appeals to such a broad spectrum of people?
You know, it's interesting. I think the key here is that Tai Chi has this dual nature.
Okay.
It's both a form of gentle exercise with real health benefits and a subtle but effective martial art. So it kind of meets people where they are.
It does.
For some, it's a low-impact way to improve fitness, flexibility, and balance. For others, it's a powerful tool for stress reduction, relaxation, and finding that inner peace. The book calls it Finding Your Center.
Makes sense. I can see how that would appeal to someone with a high-stress job, for example.
Absolutely. The focus and controlled movements can be incredibly grounding.
Yeah, so it's more than just going through the motions. There's a deeper level to it.
Exactly. And while the movements have their roots in Kung Fu, the execution is completely different.
Okay.
Think of a sharp, powerful strike in some forms of Kung Fu. Tai Chi takes those same principles, but emphasizes slow, continuous flowing movements.
Almost like a graceful dance when it's done right.
Yeah, the book describes it as dreamlike in its fluidity.
I like that. All right, so it's popular, it has amazing benefits, but where did this all begin?
Let's dive into the history. This is where it gets really interesting to me.
Okay.
While there aren't a lot of clear historical records, there is a fascinating Chinese legend about the origins of Tai Chi.
Uh-huh.
And it's attributed to a figure named Zhang Sanfeng.
Okay.
He's said to have founded Tai Chi about 800 years ago during the Song dynasty.
Wow, 800 years. That's incredible. And the book talks about this story with a magpie and a snake, right?
Yeah, that story is central to understanding how Tai Chi came to be.
Tell me more.
The legend says that Zhang Sanfeng saw this intense fight between a magpie and a snake,
Okay.
and he was struck by their constant adaptation, the way they seamlessly shifted between attack and defense. And in the end, they both retreated unharmed.
So that observation was a turning point for him.
Exactly. It said that for days he was captivated by this yielding, fluid nature of their movements. And he had this realization, this aha moment, that there was a potential for strength in the human body that wasn't about brute force,
I see.
but about this very quality of softness he saw in the animals.
That's pretty counterintuitive, isn't it?
It is. So to explore this further, he's believed to have gone into the mountains for years,
Wow.
dedicating himself to experimenting and refining these principles. And eventually, his insights and methods were passed down.
And that formed the basis of Tai Chi Chuan.
Exactly. Along with related martial arts like Xing Yi Quan and Bagua Zhang.
And that's where the term soft fist schools comes in.
Right. It distinguishes them from hard fist kung fu styles like those from the Shaolin Temple.
So it's about redirecting force rather than meeting it head on.
Exactly.
Now, the book also mentions this blend of techniques from Shaolin temple boxing and Taoist breathing exercises.
Yeah, that's another fascinating aspect of its development.
It sounds like a powerful combination.
It is. And Zhang Feng is credited with weaving these seemingly different elements together. He took the martial principles of Shaolin boxing and combined them with breath control and internal energy cultivation from Taoist practices.
So he created something truly unique.
He did. A martial art that emphasized both self-defense and health benefits.
Fascinating. Okay, so we have this rich history, this philosophy of yielding and inner power. But the book you shared focuses on this simplified Tai Chi form for beginners.
Right.
Why is this shorter version so important, especially for someone just starting out?
Well, you've got to consider that traditional Tai Chi forms can be really long.
Okay.
They often involve 80 or more movements.
Yeah.
And for a beginner, that's a huge time commitment.
It can be. Yeah.
And frankly, it can be really overwhelming. And sometimes that leads to frustration and people giving up.
Right. It's easy to get discouraged when you're faced with something that complex.
Exactly. And recognizing this, China's Physical Culture and Sports Commission developed this shorter routine called Simplified Tai Chi.
I see.
And this form is specifically based on the Yang style, which, as we discussed, traces back to Master Zhang.
So it's not a watered-down version. It's legitimate in its own right.
Absolutely. The book stresses that this 24-form routine is a complete practice.
Okay.
Think of it as an entry point,
Yeah.
a stepping stone to more advanced forms if you want to go further.
Yeah.
But it also offers substantial benefits on its own.
That makes sense.
It gives you that core essence of Tai Chi in a manageable way.
All right, so for beginners, this 24-form routine is the focus. What are the fundamental movements involved? I know the book mentions 13 core techniques within those forms.
Yes, that's right. The foundation of the routine lies in these 13 techniques that you'll see throughout the 24 movements.
Okay.
The first 5 of those techniques are mainly about whole body movement and coordination.
Like stepping, shifting your weight, and keeping your balance.
Exactly. And then the other 8 techniques are more specific movements and postures of the hands and arms.
Interesting.
And it's worth noting that the names given to these forms have roots in traditional Kung Fu terminology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though, as we discussed, the way they're done in Tai Chi is quite different.
I see. So what kind of names are we talking about?
Well, you'll see terms like warding off, pulling back, and pushing.
Interesting. Now, the book is called Pocket Tai Chi for Beginners, so it's all about learning from a book. What's that experience going to be like for someone trying to follow along?
Well, the author is pretty honest about the fact that it can be challenging at first.
Okay.
He compares it to trying to build something complex from a set of instructions and diagrams.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that feeling. Staring at those diagrams, trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. But the important thing is to be patient and persistent.
Right.
The book encourages you to read the instructions carefully, study the illustrations, and not get discouraged if it doesn't click right away.
So it's about building that connection between mind and body through practice.
Absolutely. The goal is to reach a point where the movements become second nature. You won't have to think about each step. One form will flow seamlessly into the next, and you'll be able to do the entire set of 24 forms without having to remember every detail.
That sounds amazing.
And the book says that the whole cycle should only take about 5 to 6 minutes once you're familiar with it.
That's actually pretty efficient for a full body routine.
It is. It's designed to be accessible and fit into a busy schedule. And the author gives some great advice for beginners. He says not to worry if your first attempts feel a little awkward. You're not going to look like a master right away.
That's reassuring.
Yeah. The goal of the book is to introduce you to the basics and give you a foundation, not to make you an expert overnight.
Right. So it's a great starting point. But what about the benefits of learning from a live instructor?
Well, the author makes it clear that for reaching the highest level of understanding and skill in Tai Chi, having a teacher is invaluable.
Of course.
A teacher can give you personalized feedback on your posture and movements.
Right.
They can correct any mistakes you're making, and they can offer deeper insights into the principles and nuances.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the book also makes a strong case that what you learn from the manual will give you a really solid start, allowing you to practice and experience the benefits even if you don't have a teacher right away.
So the book's a fantastic way to get started and build that foundation.
It is.
Are there any general principles that someone learning from the book should keep in mind?
Yes, there are several. The first is to aim for a consistent speed throughout the movements. As you learn the 24 forms, try to do them at a steady pace, like it's one continuous flow.
Okay.
Another important principle is to be neither tense nor limp.
Okay.
The goal is to be relaxed and fluid in your movements, but with a sense of internal focus.
So kind of like a focused relaxation.
Exactly. And generally, your head should turn naturally to follow the movement of your leading hand.
Okay.
And anytime you shift your weight between your feet, it should be smooth and gradual, not jerky.
Got it.
The book also introduces this idea of a clock face to help you understand the directions of movement.
Oh, interesting.
So imagine you're standing in the center of a clock facing 12 o'clock, and the instructions will often say things like, step your left foot towards 9 o'clock.
That's a really helpful visual. And what about those solid and dotted lines in the illustrations?
Yeah, those are visual cues. Solid lines show the direction of movement for the right hand and foot, while dotted lines show the direction for the left.
That makes sense. So what about clothing? Do you need anything special to practice Tai Chi?
Not for beginners. The book recommends comfortable clothing that allows you to move freely.
Makes sense.
For practicing outside, comfortable tennis shoes are usually fine. Indoors, practicing barefoot can actually be really helpful.
Okay.
And lastly, it's worth noting that the book uses pinyin to spell Chinese words.
Which is?
It's the standard way of writing Chinese using the Roman alphabet.
I see.
It can be helpful if you come across these terms in other resources.
That's good to know. So we've covered the history, benefits, the simplified form, and how to approach learning it from the book. Can we get a sense of what these 24 forms actually are?
Absolutely. So let's go through the list of names. It starts with commencing, which is your starting posture, and a few gentle opening movements.
Okay.
Then you move into part the horse's mane, which is done on both the left and right sides.
Right.
Next is white crane spreads its wings, which is a beautiful posture, often involving a moment of balance.
I like these names. They really paint a picture.
They do. Then there's brush knee, also done on both sides, which includes a sweeping downward motion of the hand.
Okay.
Form number 5 is hands strum the lute, a more compact movement with a hand shape as if you were playing an instrument.
Interesting.
Next is step back and roll arms, again done on both sides. This involves a coordinated backward step and a circular motion of the arms.
All right.
Then come the 2 parts of grasp the bird's tail, first on the left and then on the right. These are more complex, incorporating movements like warding off, rolling back, pressing, and pushing.
Okay.
Form 9 is single whip, a very recognizable posture with one arm extended and the other in a hook shape. This is followed by wave hands like clouds, done to the left side, a flowing movement with hand and foot coordination.
It's all starting to come together.
Then we repeat single whip.
So there's repetition and mirroring of movements throughout the sequence.
There is. It helps develop balance and coordination on both sides of the body.
That makes sense.
After single whip, we have high pat the horse, followed by kick with the right heel.
Okay.
Form 14 is strike the opponent's ears with both fists, a more direct movement, although still done slowly and with control.
Right.
This is followed by turn and kick with the left heel, mirroring the earlier kick.
Got it.
Then there's push down and stand on one leg, first on the left and then on the right. This one really challenges your balance and focus.
It sounds like the movements are becoming more dynamic as we go.
They are. They incorporate a wider range of motion and shifts in weight. Form 18 is work at shuttles, done on both sides, and involves stepping and arm movements that resemble weaving. Then there's the needle at the bottom of the C, a low-focused posture. Okay. Form 20 is flash arm, which has a quicker, more expressive quality.
Right.
Then turn and deflect downward, parry, and punch, which gives you a glimpse of the martial applications of Tai Chi.
I see.
This is followed by apparent close, a transitional movement leading into cross hands, where your arms are crossed gently in front of you.
Okay.
And finally, we end with the closing form, bringing you back to a state of stillness.
Wow, that's quite a journey through 24 distinct movements.
It is.
Now, as someone practices these, are there any overall principles they should always keep in mind?
Yes, definitely. The book emphasizes several key points.
All right.
First, it's important to do the forms seamlessly, without any pauses or breaks between them.
Okay.
The entire routine is done at a consistent, slow speed.
Even the kicks?
Even the kicks. It might seem unusual, but the focus here is on control and balance, not speed or force.
So it's about precision and engagement of the whole body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another key principle is full foot placement. When you shift your weight, make sure your whole foot is on the ground before you transfer any weight onto it.
Got it.
And finally, there's the mental aspect.
Okay.
At first, you'll be thinking about each movement consciously, but the goal is to internalize the sequence to the point where your body does the thinking.
The body does the thinking. I like
But
that.
it's a key part of mastering any movement practice.
It is. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of Tai Chi for beginners.
It has.
So for our listeners, what are the key takeaways from our discussion today?
Well, you now have a solid understanding of what Tai Chi is all about. Its ancient origins, the philosophy of yielding and inner strength, and its wide range of benefits for both body and mind.
Great.
And you've been introduced to the simplified 24-form routine, which is perfect for those just starting out.
And you have a grasp of the basic movements and even the names of all 24 forms.
Exactly. So you have a great roadmap if you want to explore this further.
We definitely encourage you to check out Tri Thong Dang's Pocket Tai Chi for beginners. Pay attention to the illustrations and the step-by-step instructions.
Absolutely.
And if you find yourself drawn to this practice, seeking out a qualified Tai Chi teacher would be a great next step.
It would.
So, now for a final thought-provoking question. Considering this idea of softness overcoming hardness, how might you apply that principle to other areas of your life?
That's a great question.
Like, how could you use it to navigate stressful situations, manage relationships, or approach challenges? It's something to think about long after our deep dive ends.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.